In the news this week, schools call for compulsory jail time for violence against teachers.
And retiring Deputy Premier Kim Hames shares his plans for life after politics in an exclusive interview.
This is the Evening News with Ivan Lung and Daniel Staniskov.
Good evening. The escalating violence between parents and school teachers have reached boiling point, with principals urging the state government to introduce mandatory prison sentence for parents who physically assault school teachers. But union members and politicians believe it's not the right course of action for schools. Eunice Lau begins our coverage.
The increasing trend of school assaults involving parents, which represents 1 in 50 of the assaults against school staff, led to calls for mandatory jail terms this week. The opposition said the government has overlooked measures that are in place to protect staff, such as violent restraining orders.
I think the government has dropped the ball. They haven't been tracking the measures that are in place now that could assist staff, and they've been providing minimal support.
Education experts say mandatory jail time for parents who assault teachers and principals is not the answer, but they say more support is needed to reassure school staff who are assaulted. The State Schools Teachers Union President Pat Byrne said school staff needed more reassurance of their rights to overcome underreporting.
The Education Department says that teachers should actually press charges, but in fact there isn't a process or a system in place to assist them to do that within the department.
It's understood that the Education Department don't know how many teachers have sought a violence restraining order, nor do they know how many prohibition orders have been issued by principals. Eunice Lau, WAMN News.
Retiring Deputy Premier and Health Minister Kim Hames is preparing for the stage of his life after stepping down from WA's Liberal National Government earlier this year. In an exclusive interview, he candidly shared with us his take on his achievements, Liberal leadership rumours and what he will miss the most from his time in politics.
It's a great honour to have been Deputy Premier for such a long period of time. I think I'm one of the longest serving Liberal Deputy Premiers in the state, and serving Colin Barnett has been fantastic.
We know that WA Liberals are not doing well at the polls at the moment. Who's the best candidate as Premier if the polls remains bad for Colin Barnett?
Well, I think the Premier's the best person regardless.
Okay, but
I don't think there is an alternative person that could come in and do the sort of job that Colin Barnett has done.
Is Dean Nald up for it?
Well, I don't think anybody's considering Dean Nald or anybody else. They're not in the picture.
Despite their rumours?
Despite the rumours, the feeling of the party room is very strongly supportive of Colin Barnett.
Will you miss being part of the state government?
I will, but on the other hand, it's actually an enormous relief. I feel younger. I feel that the pressure comes off your shoulders and you don't realise until it's gone.
Will you miss the opposition? Will you miss your colleagues? Will you miss journos?
The last one, I probably the most, to be honest.
Why?
Journos, while they are there to give us a hard time, and that's your job, I actually get on very well with most of the people in the teams that are there, and it's like a repartee, it's like a debating challenge.
If you can summarise your entire political career in one word, what will it be?
From my point of view, it would be satisfaction. Satisfaction with the opportunities I've had to work with people to improve the qualities of people's lives, to do the jobs that I wanted to do, chiefly being Minister for Health.
Police have seized $500,000 worth of goods after a tip-off about a group committing large volume thefts across Perth metropolitan and Wheatbelt areas. Here's Nelson Liu.
Midland detectives received information about 2 men acting suspiciously in Toyota Land Cruisers involved in burglaries in Gitchaganup. It's led detectives to a Northam home, recovering stolen goods, including 9 Land Cruisers, quad bikes, home goods and war medals worth in excess of $500,000. 5 people have been charged, with 33 charges laid over the burglaries.
Look, there were 2 four drives involved, so 2 stolen motor vehicles. That's not normal. And it was I went off road before coming back onto the road, and they've gone out to farming properties where they've crashed through numerous fences and gates.
Inquiries are continuing and further charges will be laid. Nelson Liu, WAMN News.
The man who approached federal opposition leader Bill Shorten in Midland earlier this week has explained why he wanted to give a book about business practices to the head of the Labor Party. Paul Quartermain approached Mr Shorten with the book Conscious Capitalism, expressing the need for tertiary education institutions to teach their students about the concept of ethical trading.
It's all about ethical trading, and so I was there with my friend Scott, who encouraged me to go forward and speak to Bill, and I did.
Candlelight vigils have been held to remember British Labour MP Jo Cox, who was tragically shot and stabbed to death at her constituency. It's reported that the attacker kicked and stabbed her before shooting her several times. The attacker was revealed by British media as local man Tommy Mayer, with neighbours quoted saying he was a loner with a history of mental health problems. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn said the country would be in shock at the horrific murder of the MP, who was a much-loved colleague.
Bernie Sanders has refused to retire from the Democrats' presidential nomination race against Hillary Clinton after saying his political revolution must continue. Mr. Sanders is now urging his supporters continue to back the grassroots campaign as he prepares of the National Convention in Philadelphia late next month. Bernie Sanders also said he looks forward to working with Hillary Clinton to transform the Democratic Party to support the working class and young people.
And finally, this week, the Return Service League has celebrated the association's 100th anniversary with a ball held at Crown Perth. It's also the final major event for Graham Edwards before he steps down as state president. 26-year-old Afghanistan veteran David Stinger was appointed as the keynote speaker for the centenary convention.
It's important that we celebrate all of the work that we've done over the last 100 years, that we mark that, and that we now look to the future.
I'm very proud to say that Graham Edwards is a friend and is a man who's made an enormous difference, not only to the state of Western Australia, but to our nation Australia.
And those are the top stories you need to know this week.
You can follow the latest news on our website and Facebook. Ciao.
See ya.